Tell me, boys, what game did you set down fully expecting to finish, but never picked it back up?
Do you want me to go first?
Go
Yeah,
for
I
it.
go first. All right. This one for me, because we're on the Elden Ring topic, I have not finished Elden Ring, and that is a game that I put about 60 hours in, and I am still not done. And I'm not even like, I feel like I'm not even close to getting to where the DLC would be accessible for me. So that is like where my life's at in that game. And I feel bad because it is one of those games I really want to return to because I had a blast with it.
Would you go back and play the same character, or would you re-roll a new character at this point?
I would,
if you went back.
I would probably just go back because I was on my PS5. I would just go back. It's that prisoner build that I just mentioned. So I would just go back, do the prisoner, and just try to get it wrapped up. But
yeah,
great game.
That's a good one.
Yeah,
Maulding?
It's a fantastic game. Anytime I don't finish a game, it's because I get distracted and do something else. Really, one that has gotten away from me is Metaphor ReFantazio. I've talked about it in other pods. I'm playing at the hardest difficulty, got to that last boss, fought that boss for an hour and 45 minutes, maybe hour and a half, somewhere around there, died, and it took me all the way back to the beginning of the fight. There were multiple stages of the fight. I was hoping maybe it would just take me back to like the last stage, but it did not, and I put that game down, have not picked it up since, and I'm really concerned that I might not do it. So that might be one game that gets away from me, unfortunately. Dan, what about you?
Mine, one game that got away from me probably isn't a huge surprise. It's not the biggest game, but I know it's one that's going to annoy Maulding, and that's Friday the 13th. That's a game I absolutely loved from the very beginning. Yes, it is glitchy AF. The graphics weren't that good, and there were glitches galore, but it was like a party. I could play with my friends and hang out. It was really fun. And then the developer quoted that it was for a lawsuit, but really we could tell the developer just didn't want to be there. And as of December 2023 or 2024, they basically shut down the servers, and you could play, locally, I guess, if you're on your LAN or whatever, but you can't play real games anymore. The game's just completely over. And that's something that happens, unfortunately, to live service games all the time. And Friday the 13th, you were gone too soon.
It breaks my heart that you're so hung up on that game, Dan, and you can't play it anymore.
It breaks my heart too, but not for the same reason.
It was just a fun guilty pleasure. I get it's not a great game, and I get it's not for everybody, especially Maulding, but it was fun. What about you, Lord? What's your next one?
My next one, this one I felt like came to me really easily. It's Yakuza Like a Dragon. And I put a bunch of time in this one. I thought the RPG aspect in that game was really fun. I thought the writing was, yes, over the top and very Yakuza-esque, but I thought it was really touching. There were some good moments in that game. And then I lent it to somebody, and they moved to Florida, and they took the game with them. And no. I'm like, I guess I won't be asking for that one back. Well, you know what? That's one drawback of having a physical game, because I borrowed it and somebody took off with it to skip town. Rip to Like a Dragon. I definitely the first one was awesome. Great game.
My second one is Unicorn Overlord. It was kind of an under the radar game. I had a lot of fun playing it and just got to a point where I just petered out because there are so many characters that get introduced in this game, and it gets really heavy with your party management. At some point you have 12 different parties that you have to manage and run them around the map at a time. And it got pretty convoluted, and I just kind of really lost interest. But man, I was really into it when I was into it. And it is a super fun game.
I don't know. You got some spicy opinions.
I've gotten flamed in the comments before because I do stand by this, that it looks like a mobile game that I paid $70 for. So that I
Those
still
10
stand
fans,
behind.
Dude, do not like
I know.
Yeah,
but
dude,
it is a fun game, and if you love a meaty RPG strategy sort of thing, I highly recommend it. But yeah, I never finished it.
I think my second one in terms of games that got away, I guess I have to, in terms of live service, I got to go a quick shout out to 1 vs 100, because that was my first heartbreak in terms of live service. Yeah. I did, but that's not my real pick. My real pick is The Chronicles of Riddick Escape from Butcher Bay. And it was a classic. And I was so pumped. I didn't have a lot of money. I was recently out of college. It was 2005, and I had the original Xbox, and the Xbox 360 was literally coming out that November. And I thought to myself, you know what, Microsoft, I love you, but F you, because this console that you made me buy was supposed to be super powerful. Not a lot of games came out for it, and then you are launching the sequel so soon after. So I just remember going over to this fraternity guy's house, and they were all hungover, and I'm like walking through beer cans, and I can play with stereotypes because I'm a fraternity guy too, so I felt like at home. But
we can tell.
But I went there because they had illegal mod chips from Japan.
Yeah, baby.
And essentially they ripped open my I paid them like $50, and then they ripped open the Xbox and they soldered on a new chip. And then they gave me another hard drive full of just ripped games. But that new chip was supposed to bypass the security of the original chip and read the hard drive that they gave me with all of the games and stuff like that. So I leave that cesspool and I go home and I'm like, fuck yes. And I plug it in and I start playing the very first thing. I couldn't wait to play it. The Chronicles of Riddick, Butcher Bay. And it's great. I start playing. I'd be maybe 2 hours in. I turn it off. And then unfortunately, that Xbox never was able to turn on again for the rest of its life. I don't know if it was the cigarette ash or the bad soldering, or maybe there was a beer can inside. But unfortunately, RIP to my original Xbox, and F you, Microsoft, for screwing me over on that one.
Wow,
I think the frat boys screwed me over on that one.
So awesome.
Good ones. Good stories.
Dang.
Good stories.
Yeah, it's really good. Nice.
Agreed. That was a good question. So thank you for that.
Really good
Dope
Yeah,
guy.
thanks, Hella Dope Guy. Friend of the pod, Hella Dope Guy.
Yeah.
That pretty much wraps up everything we've had for this week. If you're watching on YouTube, please like and subscribe. And if you're listening on a podcast, please tell like 250 friends. And on behalf of Matthew Maulding, Matt Lord, and myself, Dan Whitehill, thanks for joining us. And as always, good playing with you.
Good playing with you.
Good playing with you.